A predictable man is a manipulable man. Say to one you want to be powerful, and they'll either challenge or obstruct you. Say to one you want a woman, and she'll probe, deny, or play you. Say to one you want prestige, and they'll hold it out before you like a dog anticipates a reward. This isn't paranoia, this is pattern. Want creates vulnerability, and vulnerability creates attack. Observe around you. The men who get used, ghosted, manipulated, laughed at, shoved aside are always the ones who revealed their hand too early. They tell us, "I just really like you. This job is everything to me. All I want is a little respect." They're not really being honest. They're spilling strategy because now the other person is aware of this as your weak point. This is the handle to pull when they want to shift you. The fool desires and labels it honesty. The strategist hides desire and labels it power. You've been instructed that if you really want something, the world will assist you in obtaining it. You've been instructed that a declaration of your desires makes you brave, truthful, even heroic. But Machiavelli would label this suicidal because the universe does not reward the wanters. It rewards the ones who do not appear to need anything. Since the one who doesn't require can leave, can't be bribed, doesn't beg, can't be threatened, he never has to lose negotiating power. Consider the difference between a man who enters a room hungry for approval and a man who enters a room as if he's already won something nobody else can see. Who do people pursue? Who do people fixate on? Who gets talked about, imitated, hated, envied? The man who desires nothing yet gets everything because others project onto him. His quietness makes others paranoid, and his peaceful ambition makes others perceive him as dangerous. Read that again. Each time you speak to the world about what concerns you, you provide them with the very same recipe for your demise. Speak of desire for love, they will put your need to the test. Speak of desire for power, they will hinder your ascension. Feel a desire for revenge, they will lure you into emotional traps. Feel a desire for attention, they will bestow it upon you, then withdraw it when you're hooked. That's why this cold ambition tactic is so lethal, because you're not suppressing your desires, you're simply never showing them. You move with quiet confidence, you act with calm accuracy, you work behind dark walls and allow others to wonder what the noise of construction signifies. The more they wonder, the less they control. The instant you describe those wondering processes with feeling, explanation, or confession, you crumble, you become a map, and people enjoy annihilating maps. Most men are in cages they constructed using their own mouths. They shared with their friends what they wanted. Now they're boxed in by expectation. They said to their boss they'd do anything for work. Now they're exploited. They said to her, "You're all I think about." Now she's bored. Machiavelli has said, "It is not necessary that a prince should possess all the virtues, but it is necessary that he should seem to possess them." It is the same principle in this case. It is not necessary that a man possesses no desires. It is necessary that he seems to be indifferent to them, because then his every step becomes uncertain, and uncertainty is the most powerful weapon. When others can't get their heads around you, they stall, second-guess, project, worry, and assume. And in all that confusion, you glide along unaffected, inaccessible in your cadence. That's the subtle strength of the cold ambition tactic. The guy who is always discussing his schemes, his aspirations, his feelings, his pitfalls, thinks he's relating. He is not. He's opening himself up to others who might not even appreciate him. And worse still, he begins to require their validation. This is the emotional enslavement Machiavelli spoke of. Instead, be silent, think ahead, smile when they query, but never tell all. Make your actions look spontaneous, never desperate. If you talk of wanting, talk of it as if you already walked out on it. Because now they don't catch a man chasing, They catch a man who has everything at his disposal but chooses carefully, and nothing is sexier, more frightening, more psychologically intrusive than the man who doesn't pursue. You don't have to be desireless. You just have to be stern in your expression. Even Machiavelli wrote with ambition, but he wrote behind veils, with riddles, with principles rather than emotion. He knew how to pack desire in strategy, never in sheer confession. And you must do the same. Your desires must be like fire behind glass, yours to see, theirs not to see, burning, concentrated, perilous but never unfettered. Because the man who feels more than he shows will always beat the man who shows more than he feels. That's the Machiavellian paradox. You can have it all, but only if you appear to need nothing, and the moment they notice you want it, you already lost. Desire is not weakness, but vulnerable desire. Because the world is not impartial, it does not state, he desires this. Let us assist him in achieving this. It states he desires this. Let us observe what he will sacrifice for it. And at that point you cease being a player. You become a pawn. You become movable. This is what Machiavelli was saying when he cautioned leaders never to put themselves in the hands of other people. Because once you've let someone know what you desire, they don't need to vanquish you head-on. They simply need to get you chasing. Allow this to sink in. Most individuals are not being beaten by adversaries. They're being manipulated by intangible strings. Desire, revealed too soon, too emotionally, too vocally. The moment you speak your desire, whether for power, sex, revenge, validation, you create a lever for the world to use. And what do the wrong hands do when they get hold of this lever? They pull. A woman strings you along, freezes you out, plays games because she has you hooked. A boss holds back a promotion because he knows you're afraid to walk. A fake friend keeps you in his life because he knows you need belonging. In all of those, you are the one granting them control, not because you invited it, but because you uncovered your hunger. Machiavelli's cold ambition approach does the opposite. Rather than pursuing, you become the pursuit. Rather than stating, you insinuate. Rather than divulging, you manipulate. People witness motion but not motivation. They feel power but not purpose. And that confusion renders you immune to control. Society instructs you to be honest. Speak your truth. Be vulnerable, but Machiavelli would then turn around and ask to whom and why. Because the truth is, most men who speak their truth are simply broadcasting their weaknesses publicly. They think it makes them authentic. But in Machiavellian terms, it makes them readable. The moment you say, I just want people to respect me. I really want to find love. All I want is to succeed. You think you're being transparent. But what you're really doing is showing people how to control you. The cold ambition tactic states, never give them the blueprint to your inner world. Let them guess. Let them assume. Let them make mistakes. Because when no one knows what you want, no one knows how to stop you. And even better, no one knows how to use you. One of the ugliest facts about human nature is this. People envy the fellow who achieves without seeming to want it. Desiring something looks like thirst. Hiding a desire looks like destiny. And that is where the Machiavellian becomes the superior player. He does not say, I've worked so hard to achieve. I'm doing my best to be successful. Or, pay attention to what I have created. He allows the success to speak in a whisper. He allows rumors to do the boasting. He allows others to ask, how is he doing this without ever seeming to make an effort? This provokes something much more potent than admiration, envy. For envy is not aimed at the hard-working man. It is aimed at the man who glides effortlessly. When you make power appear effortless, you generate psychological gravity. Individuals orbit around you. They adapt to you. They fixate on how you're succeeding when they never even noticed you beginning. There is nothing worse than a man with a purpose who does not appear to need to achieve it. That is cold ambition. It is the man who loses something significant and does not blink, gets turned down and does not lose stride, misses a chance and just substitutes another, while others spiral, gripe, over-explain. He adjusts. That silence, that composure, it scares people because what it tells them is that you can't be swayed by results. And what that means is you're acting from plan, not feeling. That's when people stop regarding you as ambitious and start regarding you as planned. Machiavelli understood this. Cold men climb higher, not because they feel less, but because they express less. When you reveal too much, you are a slave to feedback. You say you need something, and they laugh. Now you're second-guessing yourself. You share your vision, and they challenge it. Now you're justifying it. You share your ambition, and they begin to undermine it gradually, sneeringly, in the guise of yay. You believe you're showing courage, but in fact you're offering your ambition at public auction, allowing anyone to bid on it, query it, distort it, redefine it. The Machiavellian does none of that. He keeps his vision quiet. He acts, he does, he constructs, and when they catch up to what he was laboring toward, it's already been accomplished. No chafing, no opposition, no revelation. That is the move of true power. Building silently in an attention-addicted world, if you show nothing, others are left to imagine everything, and that's your strength. Make them believe that you're not interested. Make them believe that you're drifting. Make them believe that you're not trying. Make them believe that you don't care. And while they assume you move, you allow their misinterpretation of you to be your protection. You allow their ego to guide them astray. You allow their underestimation to be your cloak of invisibility. This is chess. They're playing checkers, and they don't even know that you are already 10 moves ahead. Desire spoken becomes a performance. Desire repressed becomes strategy. Machiavelli knew about detachment, not because he was unfilling, but because he would not be led by it. The current world desires you boisterous, rash, and unrestrained, so it can follow your activities, so it can commodify your drive, so it can resell your aspirations back to you. But the calculating ambition strategy sabotages that framework, because when they can't see your want, they can't replicate it, they can't silence it, they can't extinguish it. They can only be afraid of what you're quietly turning into. And that's what the sound of control switching is, not to the loudest man in the room, but to the quiet one who quit talking and began constructing in the shadows. When a man talks of desire, the world hears not in admiration but calculation. They do not wonder how noble, they wonder how this can be employed. The moment desire leaves your mouth, it ceases to belong to you, it becomes a target. It becomes a lever, and in that instant, you're no longer the master builder of your ambition. You're the hostage to it. Machiavelli knew this with clinical acuteness. He cautioned monarchs never to express their real intentions. Not that it's deceitful, but it's risky. Your ambition does not intimidate people. People are intimidated by what they don't know about it. When your intentions are secret, your actions are feared. When your intentions become public, your actions are monitored. And once they are watching, they are plotting, responding, countering. Now, your ascension is no longer unblemished. It's challenged. The one who speaks aloud what he desires is the pivot on which all games pivot. You utter, "I need this job. I really want to be shown respect. She's the one I desire." And in an instant you are open because now the employer understands you'll accept sub-payment. The ones that surround you understand that not giving respect shatters your spirit. The woman understands you'll pursue, and pursuing is the killer of masculine mystery. You became visible, and visibility without leverage invites attack. The Machiavellian understands hunger is for private moments. You might want desperately, but you never indicate starvation. You move as though your plate is full, even when you're hunting, particularly when you're hunting, because in power games the man who seems to need nothing receives everything handed to him. The contemporary world is constructed to reward emotional expression, but feeling is a luxury for the players who are not playing for power. The majority of men yap continuously about their desires, their anger, their schemes, their enthusiasm. They think that talking will make them solid, but actually it weakens them. Each time you speak of what you want, you supply people with the language to knock it down. You expose yourself to ridicule masquerading as encouragement. You provoke opposition from the ones who feel left behind. That's why the cold ambition tactic is founded upon this one rule: don't say do. The cold man does not give anyone updates. He doesn't share every victory. He doesn't excuse himself for being aloof, busy, or concentrated. He doesn't seek to be understood. He just acts in the background, aggressively, systematically. And when the result comes, it speaks volumes while the others are still talking. The reason why mystery is dreaded is not because it conceals something nasty. It's because it makes other people have to think about something strong. When you speak, people put you in a box. Oh, he wants this. He's just like all the rest. But when you don't speak, they speculate. They assume. They fixate. Is he going to quit this job? Is he seeing someone in secret? Is he working on something huge? And in their speculation, you are empowered because their mind becomes your stage. Their overthinking is your camouflage. You don't have to play them, you just have to not be readable. And that's enough to disempower the average person, because what people can't define, they can't reject. In every setting, there's a tacit reward structure. In work, you're rewarded for being excited. In courtship, you're rewarded for showing interest. In friendship, you're rewarded for being present. But Machiavelli would say, the one who breaks the structure becomes the king of it. When you remain unmoved while everyone else is pleading, talk less when everyone else is talking too much, leave when others are crawling, you rewrite the rules of the game. Now, rather than chasing the prize, you are the prize. They demand, why doesn't he try harder? Why doesn't he chase? Why doesn't he need us? That's when desire turns. Now they need you. And once they need you, they will justify your power. They will submit to it. They will require it because your indifference makes you scarce. You have to become surgical with words. Not to be enigmatic, but to maintain dominance. Before you speak, I desire to be promoted. I enjoy being with you. I am developing something significant. Stop and reflect. Will these words give me leverage or take it away? Because once you disclose that you are waiting, that you are hoping, that you are yearning, you are now playing from below. You are now vulnerable. You are now playing their game. But if you can stop, stay frosty, and make the actions talk, you don't only maintain control, you intensify it. Because what isn't said is more difficult to deny. What isn't shown is more difficult to destroy. And what's left unspoken festers. Take a look at the strongest people in any room. They don't tell you why they're busy. They don't apologize for their absence. They don't justify their choices. They don't over-explain their motives. They proceed with the belief that they owe the world nothing. That's power. Because the minute you shut your mouth, people will start guessing. They will attempt to complete the space. They will create narratives about you, and in all of those narratives, you're in charge. They can love you, they can dislike you, but they never ignore you, because mystery keeps you in their head. This is not about being a rock. This is about being a fortress. You may want intensely. You may burn with ambition. You may long for transformation. But all of it must remain inside, because the man who holds desire has it, and the man who has it is unstoppable. Let your actions breathe quietly. Let your presence intimate. Let your silence infuriate, because in a world howling to be heard, the cold, silent, intent man is a myth. And Machiavelli will tell you, a myth can never be used, never be captured, never be defeated, only feared, only obeyed, only whispered about by those who still don't know what you're looking for. Desire makes you human, but articulated desire makes you vulnerable, because once the world is aware of what you desire, it is aware of how to manipulate you, and power, as Machiavelli so painfully demonstrated, does not reside in those who pursue it, but in those who stride about as if they already possess it. You can still desire the job, the woman, the cash, the payback, but as soon as you demonstrate it, the game changes. You are no longer the one in command. You are the one waiting for them. That is the definition of the cold ambition tactic: to desire silently, to construct without speech, to ascend without proclamation, and to permit the world to sense your warmth without ever witnessing the flame. If they understand what you desire, then they understand what you fear to lose. And if they comprehend what you fear to lose, then they possess your leash. You say to her, "I can't live without you." Now she has learned she can hurt you by walking away. You say to your boss, "I'll do anything for this promotion." Now he knows he can work you to the bone and still keep you in line. You say to the world, "This dream is everything to me." Now they know precisely what to deride, procrastinate, undermine, or manipulate. Even good-intentioned people, friends, family members do this unwittingly, not because they despise you, but because revealed ambition stimulates comparison in their hearts. And resistance is born of comparison. They begin to resist pulling you back, not because you are incorrect, but because you uncovered too much. That is why Machiavelli always taught that leaders need to hide their intentions not only from enemies but from all people. Because people betray, not because they are wicked, but because of weakness. And your weakness is the leverage their insecurity will ultimately